Bonsai Terrarium. Today I want to talk about part 2 of how to make a light bulb terrarium. If you're interested in learning about how to take the insides of the light bulb out, just visit my other video, part 1 of how to make a light bulb terrarium. Let's get started. Okay, so of course we're going to need a light bulb to make a light bulb terrarium. And here we have one. So let's talk about the first couple things you're going to put inside of this light bulb now that you've just taken things out of it. Some of the first things you're going to want to put are some little stones. You're going to want to put some little bonsai soil. You can buy this at a local garden center. So why don't we just start putting some of these things inside of that light bulb. Let's start off with some of this bonsai soil. When I put the bonsai soil inside of the light bulb, I like to use a funnel. So let me just get a little bit of this bonsai soil out of my little cup here. And I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit in here at the top. And you see it goes right down in there. Ooh. There we go. Just goes right down into the bottom there. It's a nice little layer there at the bottom. So now that I've put that bonsai soil down there, I'm actually going to put a couple of these little stones in here. These are little river stones. And I like to lay a nice foundation down here at the bottom. I find that if you put just enough stones in there, maybe fill it up to about one third of your light bulb, I find that it has a lot of weight and it looks better. So now that I've got some of these stones in here, I'm actually going to give it a little bit of a shake. Okay, let's talk about another really important element to our light bulb terrarium. What I'm talking about is charcoal. Activated charcoal. What this does is it helps to purify the water inside of the terrarium. It's like a filter. And your little light bulb's going to need it so that it doesn't get funky. Let's put a little bit of this charcoal in here, and we don't need a whole lot, just a little bit there, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a, that's right, a little bit more right there, okay. So now that we have a nice base layer to our terrarium, with some stones at the bottom and the charcoal, it's time for moss. Alright, here's a little bit of moss. Now, you can find moss anywhere. Well, maybe not anywhere, but you can find it outside, and you can just kind of pick it up out of the ground, bring it back inside. I even put mine in little Tupperware containers. Then, when I'm ready, I pull it out of the containers, and I put it inside a light bulb. And let me do that right now. So I'm just going to take little bits of this moss, and we're just going to stick it right down through this little hole that we created here. I like to use a little chopstick here. This is a plastic chopstick to help get it down in there. And then I'm just going to use a little bit more moss right down here. Alright, now that we have enough moss inside of our light bulb terrarium, it's time to push that moss around with our chopstick and move it into position. So let me do that right now. Now, of course, this is the most frustrating part of making the light bulb terrarium, but I think you'll find that it's quite rewarding once you finally do move that moss into position. I like to arrange the moss kind of around the perimeter, and I'll push these stones back a little bit there. It's not an easy job. Sometimes I'll even bust out the tweezers. So now that I've moved the moss into position, I'm just going to finish this little guy off with a couple of river stones. And I'm just going to drop them on in there. And that should finish our light bulb terrarium. As you can see, it's gorgeous. And I hope yours looks just as good as mine. So thank you for joining me on part 2 of how to make your own light bulb terrarium. Please check in and visit my other video, how to care for your light bulb terrarium, because what's the use in having a light bulb terrarium if it's dead? Thank you very much, and remember to check out my website, bonsaiterrarium.com. I'm Matt McMasters.